everyone. Um, my name's Max. Just coming to you live from the top of a crane in the middle of Port Botany, where I have climbed up into the unloading capacity of this port and have shut it down. This is part of Blockade Australia's mobilisation here at Port Botany, where we're using non-violent blockading tactics to put our bodies in the way of the Australian machine, because we are at a point in history where Australia's efforts to perpetuate climate denial and block action on this crisis mean that we need to take some more serious measures to resist this system. And yeah, you know, this is definitely feeling like a pretty significant one of those for me personally. You know, just, you know, sat through a storm at the top of a crane, which is pretty gnarly, but yeah, like luckily for me, the weather looks like it's getting a bit better. But yeah, I guess that's not something we can say for the future prospects of life on Earth. You know, the future is not looking better for us if we just sit back and let Australia and its allies continue to exploit this planet. You know, this system here that most of us were born into, you know, it very well might seem like it was set up with, you know, the intention to care for people. Oh, one sec. Look at that oil bleach coming out of the... Look at that. That's the way Australia does environmental management, pretty much over there. Climate management. Just let some massive leak straight out into the bay here, further poisoning and further damaging the country in this area, which of course is Bidjigal country. Unfortunately, the Bidjigal people have been pushed off this land by a very violent and aggressive empire. This was the first place that the English landed. It was the first place they shot a First Nations person, and yeah, you know, it started the 250-year story of air exploitation that has led us to a point where, you know, the likelihood of us being able to, you know, not go straight into, you know, the climate horrors that are waiting for us seems pretty unlikely. And you know, I guess it definitely seems like, to me at least, that you know, lots of people on this continent who are concerned about Australia's management here, you know, aren't taking it upon themselves, aren't taking responsibility for what's happening. They're just kind of sitting back and being like, oh, I didn't vote for them. You know, it's not my fault that this is happening. It's like, you know, if you saw your neighbour getting murdered, you know, do we expect most people just sit there and be like, oh, it's not my fault, I'm not doing it? No. You know, we'd like to think that people would go out and try and help the person being attacked, and that is what's happening here to this continent. This continent has been under consistent attack by Australia for 250 years, and as the Australian machine grows more and more efficient, it becomes better at attacking, it becomes better at exploiting, and it becomes better at extracting common resources for private profit. And I guess it is that prioritization, the fundamental prioritization of the private right to exploit over the communal right to exist on a living planet that we are challenging here with this mobilisation, and with our future mobilisations, like the one that's coming up in June, which I'd ask that as many people as possible from across the continent come together here in Sydney to be as disruptive as we can to the biggest, oldest and most significant centre of political and economic power that this that this system has, and yeah, in doing so, be part of building the pressure for change. Change is not going to just happen by people sitting around and waiting for leaders to have epiphanies about the need to act. The people in leadership positions under the Australian system hold those positions because they agree to maintain and strengthen the current system, which is dangerous and destructive to all life on Earth. These people can't just change their mind, because they would be sacked, or they would not be pre-selected again. Or, if magistrates or judges were like, oh, actually, I'm not going to uphold the shitty laws that say that, mining corporations are allowed to destroy the land while protesters and First Nations people are put in jail, they would be sacked. There is no space for good people to do good deeds under the Australian system. They are held back and punished financially and in a very real way. Real physical ways, like having their freedom taken from them. I guess, speaking on the climate chaos that, we're starting to live in, this is not something that's new to people. There's been warnings for decades. It's been a hot political issue that has been very deftly sidestepped by those in power and with power. It's been turned into a culture war, because a culture war is something that means that people who want to continue on and continue making as much money as they can while this ship sinks can do so. And yeah, we need to stop. We, the people concerned about this crisis, need to stop pretending that the other side isn't waging a war against the world. The people in control are very aware of what they're doing. They are very aware of the public manipulations that they are going out and putting into place. They know very well that change is difficult and change is scary, and that if you tell people climate action means you're going to be homeless and poor, then people are going to be scared of it. But that's not the reality. The reality is that if we don't change, everyone's going to be homeless, everyone's going to be starving, and we're all going to become part of the last generations of people that live on this planet, because the ecosystems that support life can only be pushed so far. It doesn't take a climate scientist to be able to to recognise the damage that Australia has done to this continent. You can drive for hours through other more regional parts of this of country here and see all of the trees have been stripped bare.